Hello, welcome to my messy fingers. We are about to build our first signature and it is going to fit right here on the left inside panel. And what I do want you to do is go in to the 22 pack and you're going to pull this piece and this piece. They'll be white on the back side because they're single-sided sheets. So I want you to pull both of those, because that's what we're going to be using to make this signature. And all the trims off the signature will be used to make a couple of small panels. You're also going to need to cut into these large cutout cards, and we're going to be using a couple of those as well. So here we are on the base page. I need to erase my pencil mark. So the base page is going to be at 8 3/8 across by 8 3/4 in height. So 8 3/4 by 8 3/8. Now, the trims that I'm using on this are all going to come from the cuts that we're going to do here for the front panels. So I want to address those now so that we can kind of get those out of the way, because like I said, you're going to be using some, because I build from the inside out, so I want you to do your trims. So this piece here, I got to look at the one I had you pull. I got to double check something here. Okay, so you can see here where the tip of her wing has been cut off in order for it to fit the panel. So I had to have come in about, it looks like about an inch. So I'll have you double verify that. Oh no, it's less than that. See this little dot's this little dot. So I'm trying to help you out here, so hang tight. It looks like it's going to be about 7/8 of an inch from this edge you're going to come in. In fact, I'm wondering if I happen to have, look at this right here. Let's get this out of the way. Sorry. Okay, so from that left edge, you're going to trim off 7/8 of an inch, so that what you end up with is the tip of her wing is cut off, and then that's just going to go into your scrap pile. Now for the top, you're going to come up from the bottom, before you do any trimmings, please. You're going to come up from the bottom at 8 5/8 of an inch. You're going to trim the entire top of the 12 by 12 paper off. You're going to cut that whole strip off. Then you will come in and trim off 7/8 of an inch. Okay? Then after you have that trimmed out, you're going to then trim off this piece of the trunk of the tree, and this is going to measure at 3/4 of an inch that you're going to take off on this edge. And then that gives you this. Okay, so you can see you got the little leaves there in the center up there at the top. So you're going to save the top piece. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to turn everything back over, because we're going to be playing with the smaller pieces that we've cut here very shortly. That top panel piece. Okay, where did this come from? Oh, I think this is the reverse. Is that the reverse side? No. I'm thinking, I'm terribly sorry. I'm trying to figure out where I got this trim from. It came off the front that we used for the front face of the album. I do believe this is that piece that's left over. It is because it's the brown on the back side. So the piece we cut off the front of the album, you should have this in your scraps. And then I went in and to all the fussy cut pieces, and I trimmed out this sweet little image right here. I did back it on some cardstock because I needed it to be a little bit sturdy. We're going to place that right down here at the bottom of the tree trunk, and that has the wings and a bit of her skirt hanging over, and I don't want those so weak that they're going to bend backward this way. So if you want, you really don't need to have cardstock down here on the base. You could just do the cardstock here and around the wings. This is what I'm trying to protect right here. So if you wanted to cut a piece that would match the wings, then that would be fine, and that way you didn't have to do this entire thing. So this piece here, this pocket measures at 1 3/4 of an inch. So 1 3/4 by your 8 3/4 in your height. The height, unless I tell you differently, will be the standard throughout the album. So I'm going to go ahead and get this put on. And while I'm thinking about it, if you need to reach out to me, my email is the best way to do it. If you go to my website and you try to message me through there, I don't get those timely, and I like to respond fairly quickly. So unless it's, well, no, just email me directly for any questions that you will have, rather than go through my website. I would appreciate it. Or message me if you're concerned about a particular signature, message me on that signature, and then I will get to you as quickly as I can. Okay, so I'm going to pull her in a little bit so her skirt's not hanging over. She's got less wings. So I am going to glue everything from about here over. I don't want use the back of that. Okay, there we go. So now that's on. Now I also did fussy cut out this green heart so that it would help break up this pattern a little bit and give a contrast. So the green heart came out of, again, all those elements that you can cut apart. All right, so now our first add-on will be for the right side. You're going to cut this at 6 1/4 inches across by 6 3/4 in height, and you're going to have a 1/2 inch score. And then I just want to center this as best as I can. I'm not going to measure unless I have to, so I'm just eyeballing it a little bit here. Now, before we go any farther, I want you to cut a piece that is going to measure 6 1/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches, and you're going to do a 1/2 inch score, and then we're going to tape that, center it right here in the middle. Is that what I want to do? Yes, that's what I want to do. So we're just going to do the best we can to put this in the middle. And always, I'm a little bit high, but it'll work. And I did not get it over far enough. I'm just going to back this up a little bit. I'm off about 1/8 of an inch, and that's just too much for what I'm going to do here. Come on, come on, come on. Lift. Okay, that worked. So I just want to be right in front of the score line. Okay. So from the top of that 12 by 12 that I had you cut the top off, you're going to have this tree bough. It's supposed to go this way, so I did put this on wrong. Okay, here we go again. Now, I'm just going to roll up the tape. It's wet enough and easy enough to do, and then I'm going to have to retape this. I don't know if it's going to stick because that undo hasn't dried off enough, but we'll give it a shot here. So I have to make sure. All right, so I'm going to come right to the edge. So, okay, I'm good to go there. Sorry about this. But as I've stated in the past, I make a lot of stuff ahead of time, and then I've got to go back and do the filming, and I forget what I'm doing. I apologize. 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is roughly my center. There we go. Oh, don't do that. Oh, for Pete's sake. It's a good thing I've got plenty of this undo. Goodness sakes. 1, 2, 1, 2. So this again is my center. Roughly. Okay, now the bow is going the correct way. So you'll take that trim piece off that we cut off on the front, and you're going to trim it to fit in here, and then I'm going to glue it down. And then from that fussy cut, I cut out one of the oak leaves, and I'm going to put it right here. I'm just going to put a dab of glue across the base of this so that if you wanted to, you could tuck something. but be careful how much glue you use because glue spreads, and I want that to be a tuck. Okay, so let's get in here on this side, and we're going to cover this first. All right. So on the inside here, I'm using this large cutout, but I'm using this side of it because I want you to be able to either journal on it or put a photograph on it. Now, it is going to fall short, but that's okay because we always fix it with a pocket. So we're going to create a pocket on this, and you've still got a nice spot here to put in your photo. Now, this measures 1 5/8 across, or tall, and then for the length, you're going to be at 5 3/4 of an inch. Just set that right in there. Oh, that slid. I don't want you to do that. Okay. Let's try to do this all over again. Hold it in place, keep it from sliding around. And then I'm going to take this piece. I'm using some of the wood grain from the piece cut from the back of the album. And I did round the corner on this. And then I cut out these 2 large pieces, and I'm just going to set them in the front here. So I've got the pine cone and the large oak leaf. And I'm going to put the oak leaf down first because the pine cone's going to go on top of it. I did not. Okay, so don't glue the tip or you're going to seal your pocket closed. And now, how big is this going to be? So don't glue the tip here either. Okay. Now, there is a piece that you're going to cut into here very shortly. In fact, I think it's on the... Nope. Now I've got to remember where I got this from. Hold on here just a second. Let's take a look. I think I know where it came from. All right, we need to talk about this here second, but I'm getting myself a bit distracted. So let's take a look here. I don't remember specifically where I found that piece. All right, it has to be in this pile here. I'm trying to help you out, so I apologize. So you'll know what piece that came from. It is, I know what it is now. This piece, I thought I knew. Oh my God. Okay, here. It's off the front that we used on the front of the album. It's this big piece that we've cut off here. So that is what this is. Which makes no, I'm so sorry, makes no sense to me because that's awfully large. This is out of the, it's this piece, but it's out of the 12 by 12. I know what it is. When I had you pull the two pieces to build the front of this album, one of them came out of the 12 by 12 and it would be blank on the back. That's the one I cut into for all these elements right here. So that explains why we have this large piece for the top. And that's what's going right here. And its partner piece, which is this one, the opposite is going to go on the next panel. I am so sorry. Again, I'm very embarrassed. So from this, you're going to glue this piece on right here. I know I haven't forgotten a flap. I've got it sitting down here, but I want to get to the paper before I'm confusing you enough as it is, and I just so sincerely apologize. Okay. So in here, for the next panel, you're going to pull out a piece that is going to have this beautiful green flower, and then you're going to have leaves on the back side. And when you're going to pull this piece out, because that's where you're going to get this cut, and then this cut is what's going to go in here. So you'll be able to come back to this piece once we cut the next panel. So I'm just going to get this down here right now. Okay. So let's get these two, I just so apologize. I feel so scatterbrained today. Okay, so here's the other half. This piece for the left side is going to measure at 6 3/4 inches across by 6 3/4 in height, and then you're going to have a 1/2 inch score, and then you're going to come in here and try and line it up so that these two pieces come together. Okay. Now we're going to trim the panel that's going to go in here. So this piece is going to measure at 6 1/2 inches. You're going to have a 1/2 inch score at this end, and it's going to be 3 1/2 inches. And we're going to come in here. I'm trying to line this up so it's somewhat centered. And then this piece with the spider web is going to go here. And then this piece will go right here. And again, we'll get to this when we trim for the next piece. So let me get this put together. And then this is that one of the large cutout cards. This is the one that I chose to use, and it's got the little fairy on the reverse side. She's so cute. And again, because of the size of the front, we're going to be a little short. But we're going to create a pocket. And this is going to be, this one is 6 1/8 by, I'm going to call it at 1 5/8. Now I'm going to start right here in the corner, and if I trim this right, it should drop right in front of that score line. And then the wood panel. And then I'm going to go, now when I trim this, I wanted this floral, so that's why I'm using that side of it. It kind of breaks up all the autumn leaves. And this would be great for journaling or putting in a small photo or a small memorabilia. And then I do believe it was the large pumpkin I put right there. I have several little things, those two, so it's right here. Large pumpkin. And then this piece. Again, this is the remainder of that piece out of the 22 pack that we cut into to create the pop-ups on the front. So that's where this is coming from. And then I thought what I would do is, I just love this character. I just think he is just downright adorable. So he's looking upward, so I'm you know, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, he's looking at these lovely fall leaves. I run tape from the back of his arm and across his feet. So from the back of his arm down this way and across both of his feet, and he's going to become a tuck. So you can tuck in a nice item right behind here. Okay, and I think we are finally in a position that we can now this piece, I was putting that somewhere and I don't remember. Okay, let's move on. All right, so for your right side panel, this is going to be at 6 inches by 8 3/4. You're going to have a 1/2 inch score and a 5/8 of an inch score. And we want this to flatten out and wrap around all the work that we've just added. So when you do that, and then you lay this down flat, you will see to accomplish that you need to be right up next to that 5/8 score line. And then it should just lay over nice and easy. Okay, now let's take a look at the left side. So the left side is going to measure at 6 inches by 8 3/4 of an inch. And then you're going to have a 1/2 inch score and a 5/8 of an inch score once again. And this is going to open from the left side, so left over right. Get this lined up as cleanly as possible. And then once you do that, we do need to place our magnets. Okay. So it is this next piece that you will find the 2 small trims that we used in here on these back panels, because this is the side that's going to go down, but this is the reverse. So you're using pieces off of this and off of this. In fact, they're coming in off the top. I recognize the berries. And don't worry, she's cute, she's pretty. If you want to turn these over, you can turn them over, but we are going to be playing with these. And this way we have plenty of space for photos. All right, so I am going to go ahead and glue this one down. So once again, you'll cut the top of this one off. So you'll measure up to what you need to cover this panel, and you'll cut the top off so you can get those 2 trims. And if you'll hang just, well, I don't know, I hope I'll help you out here in just a second. So these 2 pieces that I cut, they are roughly 3 3/8 of an inch off the top, because you're cutting it at a measurement that's going to fit a 8 7/8 length. And then we're going to make some tucks for the top and the bottom for some photos. Now I am missing, oh goodness sakes. Well, I guess I'll make sure it's not loose in here. Well, for Pete's sake. Okay. I hope I'm better organized on the next signature. I am just not in my element today. I sincerely apologize. So these two panels, you're going to cut, this is going to be 1 1/8 in an inch, and they should be roughly 5 1/4 inches in length, so that they're coming just in front of this one score line out to the edge. Now, I do need to fix something before I cut and trim that. I've got to fix something. I don't know if you can see it, but oh, there it is. It's stuck to the back. Oh, good, I'm glad I don't have to cut it. See this big glue goober right here, or tape goober? I've got to pull this. I have to move this so that it is straight. So I'm going to lift this, and then I'm going to pull it in. Okay. All right, let's make sure these are both the same length. They are both the same length. They're both the same width. And then I'm using this pattern for the base page. This is the pattern I'm using in here for both of these. And I will get that. Let's get this secured before I show you what else I'm doing. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be about here, give or take. And then we're going to cover this. And then I took this pumpkin and this pumpkin, and we're just going to center them. And then there's 2 more pumpkins, and we're just going to center those over here on this side. The green one on top of the orange one. Okay. And then a white pumpkin. And the little orange pumpkin. Okay, that's what we have here. Now we will work with these two pieces that we have cut. So on the top here, I took Fall Sweet Fall and I'm putting it here. She's looking up at something, so we might as well be that. And then down here in this little slope, we're going to put in a mushroom. I'm also going to put in a couple of butterflies. And this is popped up. This is popped up. These are both mounted on cardstock. And this butterfly came out of the cut-aparts. And this little butterfly you would find in one of your scrap pieces. Maybe you've spotted it. If you haven't, it's no big deal, but it is in your scraps. And then we'll do the pop-ups here. And I just want to put it here in one of these little slopes. And then we're going to tape this down. Off or it's going to dry up on me. I hope it's trying. There's just too much there for my eye to look at, so I'm going to trim these off. Okay, now I had some small embellishments that I was going to put with the pumpkin, and before they all float away, I want to get these added. And these are just some additional leaves from the cut apart. You can just kind of randomly select whatever it is that you want, but they're so tiny. See, that's trying to dry up on me. Okay, now I'm just going to stick this down here so that it trails off to that side, and I think I got that. I also have this set. And it dresses up the pumpkin. Now I cut out the heart, and I was going to use it as a possible tuck right here at the bottom of this page. So if you want to do that, just be careful how much glue you put, and then tuck it down here in this corner, and then you got a nice small tuck. Okay, we're done. We did it. No thanks to me. I think when I'm done here, I'm gonna go take a nap and try to get over this, my frustration with this. Oh. I will come back on the next one, refreshed, a little more organized. We're human. Okay, let's get some tape for the center. Okay, let's get this in our album. And it will sit in here like so. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to go over with you the paper I've pulled and the order in which I'm going to be playing with them, so that you can go ahead and get them arranged so that that's all done for your upcoming signatures. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. Okay, so from the 22 pack, you are going to pull in this order, this one and this one. This is side A, this is side B. And then you'll pull this one and this one. I'm kind of switching these two around, and my brain, I've got a reason for it. And then you'll pull this one, and it's side B. Little guy on the stump, and his side B. I love this. And then you'll pull her and her side B. So if you'll pull those out in that particular order, then you'll be set to go when I start pulling for upcoming signatures, and then the rest of what we have, we'll be using it to play with the insides. So I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.